It's backseat drivers time. Good evening and welcome to Backseat Drivers number 9 for the year. It's another non-F1 review, preview, anything like that. We did have some IndyCar racing over the weekend though, where Kirkwood, depending on who you listen to, he won his first race, which we'll discuss about that. And in the bit where Dixon tried to take out Pato O'Ward unsuccessfully and had a little bit of a cry at the end of the race. There's some other things to chat about, which we'll get into. But let's invite the usual guests. We've got Rob, who's now normal size. He's not very narrow anymore.
Oh, yeah, I didn't fix it. Now I'm actually driving.
And we've got Matt with his taco hat or something.
Tacos!
It's
burrito?
my burrito hat, Dave.
It was
I
close.
ate a 1 kilo burrito.
And you're proud of this?
I'm very proud that I ate a 1 kilo burrito because I'll be honest with you, Dave, I could have eaten another one.
Did you go in hungry or did you, eat like
I call it lunch, Dave. I went in for lunch.
Okay, I'm not sure where we should start off this week.
Same place we always start. Just
Christian saying that Danny's going to go and do some testing this year.
Yeah, they're gonna let the monkey
testing code for
scare Checo.
taking over Checo's race seat. Is that the?
He's going to test near Checo and then just subtly go, "Oh, there's some good times. You seem to be quicker than our second driver."
I'm wondering if it might be like testing, as in Spain, we're going to put you in the Grand Prix seat to test whether you're better than Checo.
You're not letting go of this Dan to drive, are you?
Well, Mercedes has had 4 weeks to catch up to them, so they might need a competent second driver
in those 4 weeks
take on the fight.
I've got to ask, can they do anything in these 4 weeks?
Yes, they can do lots.
Like, can you? But you can't do any proper testing, can you?
No, you can't go and actually test the car, but they can continue developing. Should we just remove Rob while he's playing with his? It's actually distracting me watching him go up and down.
I feel like there's still some weird. It could just be his hat, though.
I was going to say, there is the hat and the fact that you can't put it on straight. I mean, I'm not cool enough to have a flat peak, and the
mine's not even flat.
The curved ones really don't work when you try and flip them off to the side.
The flat rims really need to go on the side a little bit because of the way the curve is. When you have it on straight, there's too much pressure here, so you have to have a little.
Okay. That's why you do it.
Yeah. This thing's
We're
real
learning
deep.
something, Dave.
I can't get enough of my head inside it.
Head or hair?
Head. All the hair.
So IndyCar.
Yeah. That was a okay race.
Yeah. It definitely wasn't as spectacular as St. Pete, but
no.
Yeah, there was no airborne cars this time.
No,
but
it was. Yeah, it was pretty straightforward for most of it. I'm glad to see Kirkwood get a win. Really hoping that Grosjean wasn't going to get past him.
I kind of feel sorry for Grosjean, but it's also kind of a little bit funny that Kirkwood comes in and takes a win that quickly. Yeah. So, I mean, let's ignore...
Kirkwood was good. Before IndyCar, he was pretty decent.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people underestimate, how bad those Foyt cars are in comparison to the top runners. Everyone who was jumping on the bandwagon and bagging him last year, he was obviously overdriving that car to try and get results out of it.
Yeah.
Which he could have quite easily sat back, finished 22nd every race, and not learned anything. Whereas obviously that pushing to the extreme where you kept putting it in the wall, well, Foyt's paying the bills. Let's learn.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and now he's ready to go when he's got his proper shot with Andretti. He knows kind of where it is, and he's good to go.
I feel like Andretti's got their mojo back a little bit. Like St. Pete's, they were doing all right until everyone crashed.
Yeah, but realistically, Grosjean was in line to win that race.
Yeah.
Herta was a little bit off. Grosjean was actually quite up the front most of Texas as well.
Yeah.
But it's strange, though, because Herta's been, for him, a little bit lost.
Yeah.
So far
he has
year.
this year.
He's still top 10-ish, but not...
Yeah, not top 5.
Front.
Yeah, he's been a bit lacking lately, which is a bit disappointing.
It's a bit surprising when he's supposed to be the team leader there.
Yeah, true.
We can discount the Di Francesco, I think.
Yeah, true.
That's money. But like going into this year, there was a bit of questions because Grosjean had kind of faltered there last year. You were losing Rossi.
Yeah.
You were then there was all the questions on Kirkwood that didn't need to be there. But you were kind of like, out of 4 cars, have they really only got 1? And it's looking like they've got 3.
Yeah, true.
So,
it
bodes quite well. And obviously, Ganassi cars are still strong. Penske cars relatively strong. McLaren's definitely.
Has Rossi actually finished the race yet?
He was
22nd last weekend.
Oh, but he was running like 5th, and then there was a failure on the last lap.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was actually, because he ended up in the wall on the last lap.
Yeah.
Which was a failure.
But
I think he was like 5th or 6th or so. He was actually the top McLaren car.
Yeah. Because he didn't finish the last 2 races.
The F1 team, Dave. Sorry.
Yeah.
Are they still under the umbrella of?
Yes.
Zach?
So what happened was it was Smith Peterson Motorsports a few years ago, and then McLaren kind of did a technical thing with them and then purchased half the team, and now they bought it outright, didn't they? They took complete ownership, I think, over Christmas.
Yeah. Is Arrow's only a sponsor? I thought they were
a
part owner or
partial owner. Arrow's the sponsor, and it was Smith Peterson, which is Sam Smith and I'm trying to think of Peterson's first name. Sam Smith used to be a driver until he got Rick Peterson. Yes.
It's the owner of Arrows. He's disabled. I think he's a
No, that's Sam Smith.
Is it?
Who he was a race car driver.
Yeah.
And then he was in an accident and paralyzed himself, and then became a team. But I think he was the team owner of his own team before the accident, even.
Yeah, possibly. He actually drove a car up Goodwood, up the hill.
Which Arrow does a lot of tie-in stuff with that. So it was somewhat kind of fitting when it was Robbie Wickens was racing for them, and then paraplegic himself, because Arrow had already done a lot of work for like mobility stuff for Sam Smith. Yeah. So they could, because he, I think he might even control with blowing in the tube or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
He has. That's not. No, he's got control of his hands still.
Yeah. Whereas Sam Smith doesn't. I think he's full mouth
No,
control.
I think Sam. No, well, Robbie Wickens actually drives.
Yeah.
So he's only legs. But I think Sam might have control of one hand still.
Okay.
Trying to
Yeah, well,
remember.
I think they said when he drove the car up that he was doing it with his mouth.
Maybe he's the one,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
blows in the tube or whatever to do the controls on his wheelchair.
Which is cool.
They're cool.
Yeah.
What's it called? The because I know video games, Xbox, Microsoft made some for their Xbox controllers.
Okay. Yeah, Microsoft do a lot of stuff like that for disabled people. Like the Xbox is so good for it.
Basically, it's got the mouse tube, and then it's got like either larger pads or they've remapped it all depending on the person's ability of like touching stuff.
I still don't think that would help me with any games.
Oh no! I'm like in The Simpsons, Rob. You know where it says your fingers are too fat to dial.
Yeah,
you get your dialing wand.
This is why you like Nintendo Entertainment System. There's only 2 buttons.
Rob, they're made
that's
for people.
That's my level of coordination.
Yeah.
That's why I think the Wii did so well, Rob, because it's people who just want to push 2 buttons and they play like this.
Yeah.
You know, the old shape to move.
Me. Yeah. What do we think of Pato's overtake?
Which one?
The one on Dixon.
Well,
not the one where
he surprised Dixon.
The questionable one that everyone's angry about.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And the way I mean, he made the corner fine.
It's be real time.
He made the corner fine. Dave sounds like a political answer of,
Well,
how'd you go this weekend? I did fine.
It was an ambitious move, but there was a car down the inside, and Dixon just took the normal racing line as like no one was there, and then complains that he got taken out.
Yeah. Dave, you could be an F1 team boss so well. You've used all the bingo words. You've used racing line. He did what he had to do. You defended your driver blindly.
Yeah. We can bump you up to CEO if you start using words like synergy.
You got to do this, Rob. You got to be like, there's synergy between our 2 drivers.
Yeah.
Checo and Max love each other. There's no fighting.
Yes.
I mean, Dixon, he just rubs me up the wrong way at times. Like the complaining at the start of the race as well.
Yeah.
Like they come out of because for anyone who didn't watch it, they have the rolling start. They come out of a hairpin on the last corner, and the problem was that you've got it spreads the field out so far with the hairpin on the last corner. So the guys on the first couple of rows were formed up, and then Dixon was charging. He was in 5th, I think. The first 2 rows were lined up. Dixon came charging in and didn't quite get the timing right, and then had to brake because the first 2 rows hadn't started the race. Whereas, say, Newgarden, who was on the 4th row, they got the timing absolutely perfect. So they were accelerating up as the first 3 rows then took off. So he was doing about like 50 Ks more than what the first 3 rows were doing, and just went blazing past. And I think he was in 3rd or 4th coming out. Like he overtook, I think it was 2, 3 or 4 cars going into the first corner. And Dixon was like, oh, it's unfair, or whatever. It's like, no, you just didn't quite time yours right and had to brake at the point when then Kirkwood took off. You were braking to slow down so you didn't run into the back of him. Whereas Dixon's timing was 100% perfect. And then, it's unfair. Like, no, you just got your timing on that. You were trying to do exactly the same thing, but got it wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas the guy behind got it perfectly right, and then, no, it's unfair. And then the same with Pato. Like, it was an ambitious move.
Yeah.
But he got surprised and didn't see him, essentially. Like, if he'd seen him, give him a little bit of room, both of them make it through the corner fine.
Long Beach really should have a standing start. It's just that hairpin is horrible for getting the cars around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have a similar thing every year.
Yeah.
And you have those different Having said that, though, no crashes except for Helio.
Yeah, who crashed
doing just mashing the throttle out of turn one, and because you're like, okay, who hit him? Nope.
Yeah, no, just
mashed the throttle and crashed.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
I do you think Shank might have 2 new drivers next year?
Possibly.
Because I can see maybe getting Helio back for the 500. Because it's him and it's the 500, maybe the third car for them.
He's got a good chance of winning still. If anyone does.
Yeah. But to run him for the full season was questionable. Like, was that last year, the first time they did him for the full season?
I think it was last year.
Yeah. Like, it was questionable. Why would you do that in the first place? This year it's proving to be even worse. And Pagenaud's not the answer.
No.
To the question for them. So, I can see.
Yeah.
Helio is probably about 65.
Yeah.
It was his debut season when I was still a child. So he's got to be older than me.
Wait, is he genuinely 60 years old?
No, but his day, I think 97 was his debut.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's been going around a long time.
Yes.
So,
I just want to see him win one more 500 just so I've been in the time when someone's won 5.
Because
I'll probably never see it with anyone else. I don't think anyone else.
Who's the next closest?
I don't know. How many has Dixon done?
Fact checkers. Dixon's only done 1, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, if Helio was a rookie in the 90s, does that mean he started with Rookie of the Year Alonso?
He started before Alonso.
Oh, so he's an older rookie.
Well, he doesn't class himself as a rookie.
Ah.
I can find a list of all the
winners. Here we go. 3 is no one racing at the moment. Dario Franchetti's close, the closest, I guess.
Where's the list?
Wikipedia down the bottom. Yeah, so the only person who's still driving, Sato's got 2, Montoya's got 2. That's it.
Well, I think we can nearly count Montoya out now.
I think he's done.
Depending on how Sato goes, this could be his last.
Because his last win was 2020.
Who?
That's not that long ago.
Sato. Yeah. But he could, especially if Ganassi cars have the advantage like they had last year.
Yeah.
He'll be in the fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd put him as a higher threat than Dixon.
Yeah.
I reckon this year. If they have that advantage, like he'll go for it. So he could well be on 3 by the end of.
Yeah.
I just remembered why I like the Indy 500, Dave. At the end of the race, you get to drink some milk.
I feel like Castronevis's first and last win were 20 years apart.
Yeah, that's huge.
20 years.
Yeah.
2001 was his first win, 2002 second, and 2009 and 2021. Yeah.
Or Dave,
I thought Montoya's gap was big, but that's
it's huge.
I don't think they give a shit because they run to their own rules.
Yeah.
And that's not being a smart ass. They actually they don't run under FIA. They run under their own classifications. But I'd imagine it would be similar probably to a grade 3. So
that's pretty low.
So some of the stuff they do run on is like some of the
three for all the tracks, like.
No, well, see, some of the things like the safer barrier in that is, which is like now F1 has the Tech Pro barriers, which are kind of a rip off of the safer barrier. That like IndyCar essentially they brought that in, and you've got things like obviously F1 the Halo, whereas IndyCar's got the aero screen, which I'd argue the aero screen's a lot better system because you can't have a spring shoot in. Whereas with the Halo, you can still have stuff shooting in.
Flying. Yeah.
So,
what track was it? Nashville last year. That's the bumpy as hell one.
Yeah.
Over the bridge.
Yeah.
That.
You'd argue though, like Laguna Seca and Road America, similar to Bathurst.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
And Nashville and that would be. They're probably even worse than Newcastle.
Yeah,
they definitely be worse than Adelaide.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's such a bumpy track.
Yeah,
it's just crashes constantly.
Like, well, the Gold Coast was built for IndyCars.
Yeah.
So
I thought Gold Coast was a street track.
Yeah. IndyCars run everywhere.
When you say it was built for IndyCar, you could almost just say any road track was built for IndyCar.
Yeah, but that was why that track exists.
Yeah.
Because Gold Coast wanted IndyCar.
I like Laguna Seca as well. It's a fun track. There and Road Atlanta, my two favorite tracks.
I've never driven Road Atlanta on. Well. In a game. I used to Road America.
Yeah.
Absolutely love Road America.
Road America's all right.
Wait, is Laguna Seca the one with the corkscrew?
Yeah.
I have driven on that not well many a times.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's very hard track to get right. Especially the corkscrew.
Yeah.
I think
it invites you to brake either too early or too late.
Yeah.
No, Dave, the best way to do it if you have simulation down a lot is instead of turning left and braking, is just launch down, jump down, and then sort of clip the barrier on the right, lose a bit of speed, but because you're already doing 180, you don't lose too much speed in certain games and just keep going.
If you can get the angle just right, you can just send it
launch
straight.
Yeah.
You can Alex Zanardi it.
Yeah.
Basically, I treat it like stunts and just launch myself over. So basically, you could have a season of IndyCar in Australia, no issue.
Yeah, which is, what they do, have it in North America.
Yeah.
Which as much as like their population's obviously a lot bigger, but it is that side of things, like the road kind of racing is very similar.
Would it be popular here if you had an Indy type car series in Australia? And call it Ozcarts.
I think you'd have to go away from having supercars as kind of the top category in Australia. Like we are a very tin top, and NASCAR is still the top category in America.
Just hold on.
It is dropping. No, but like Super 2, whatever their second tier is. Is it Nationwide?
Nationwide, the
Xfinity, their ratings are still like just above IndyCar's ratings. But you've also got F1 ratings coming up with like NASCAR's still, I think NASCAR's still getting like 4 million kind of views a race. But then in that kind of realm from 800,000 to 1.5 million, depending on the races and that, you have got Xfinity, IndyCar, and F1 kind of all.
I think F1 should take a leaf from NASCAR's book and do a dirt track. Jack cars up a little bit.
And Rob, stages
not stages, just a dirt track.
The chase.
I believe they did, Rob. Daniel Ricciardo did it in a video, which I now found out wasn't even Dan, wasn't even Liam Lawson. It was probably just some guy from marketing who's like,
Barry,
go drive this.
Barry, you're up today.
I'm trying to remember who it was.
Mr. Ginger Spice. He's like, I need a holiday.
I'm trying to remember who it was because I did find out, or I did hear somewhere who it actually was doing the driving at Bathurst.
Was it an actual Red Bull driver at all, or just?
Yeah, but it's like they have someone to do things like that as well.
My understanding is Dan did the bit on the bridge.
He didn't do any of it.
He didn't do any of it.
He wasn't.
They showed footage of the bridge driving, and they tried to make it look like not only was he driving on the bridge, obviously for the promotional thing, but like the behind the scenes, they're sort of like, this is what Dan does on a weekend, just driving the old RB7 up the road.
I think they did some studio stuff with him in America, and all the driving here was done by the other bloke. Not Liam Lawson.
Dan's not allowed in a real car yet. Sim only.
I do like how we've got Dave, who is like Dan's #1 fan, and he'll be driving this year, and then Rob couldn't give a toss. In fact, if Dan never sets foot in a Red Bull car, it'll be too soon.
Dan is the Pastor Maldonado of...
Look at him. He's on the Piastri hype train already. He's got his...
It's actually Lando hat, but
where is it? Oh, yeah, it is a 4.
Hey, Rob, what do you think is going to happen first? Piastri scores more points or Dan gets into a Red Bull car?
Piastri gets more points. God, he's
getting more points because the whole field's going to crash again and he's just going to sneak.
Well, the next round is Baku.
It's supposed to be the new car.
So there could be carnage.
Yeah, true.
Will be carnage, Dave.
Yeah.
Piastri's almost scored as many points as Dan did last year.
Yeah, but Stephen Bradford.
Dan's almost scored as many points as Piastri this year.
Yeah.
So
he hasn't.
And Dan doesn't even have a car.
Almost.
Yeah, he's not letting a car.
Wait till Dan gets a car.
Well, let's see if Dan actually gets a car.
Second place in Spain is worth 18 points.
He'll get.
Oh, so
Dan will
so
get
Dave,
degrees.
Not only is Dan getting a seat, he's jumping in, and that weekend he's finishing second. Team orders, obviously, because he could finish first, but he's going to have a discussion with Max that he'll just be #2. He'll go straight to 18 points, and then Rob has to wear a full Red Bull outfit next night.
Dan will get a seat at AlphaTauri, and he'll be back again.
He's actually Yuki's going to take the other Red Bull spot that I've heard.
Oh yeah, he'll take Red Bull spot. Yuki's doing real well. Nick DeVries isn't.
Yeah, he's been disappointing.
Yeah.
That whole setup's a bit disappointing at the moment.
Yeah. How would you feel though that you had the seat at Williams? You said no and you jumped in the AlphaTauri, and it's probably not as good as the Williams at the moment.
I think they're all much of a muchness, aren't they?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
It's like saying, do you want to drive this Hyundai Excel or my old Barina? And you're like, well, they're both going to get me there. I'm gonna look bad either way.
Yeah, but if you've got one that might get you the potential of getting a Red Bull seat versus the other one that
I forgot to tell you, Dave, the Barina's a Red Bull Barina. So
yeah, that's it. You pick the one that has a team that's at the front.
I don't know if you guys ever saw them, but the Beatles used to have the Red Bull can on the back.
Yeah.
I had mates that did art shows, and they would turn up with the 2 promotional girls and the cans of Red Bull.
Yeah. I walked past this barbershop that's opened up around the corner from me today, and there was a Ferrari and a Lamborghini parked out the front. But inside the shop was a Mighty Boy, and I was more keen on the Mighty Boy than the 2 supercars out the front.
Yeah, but that says more about you than...
Yeah, true. take a Mighty Boy any day.
My mate had the Subaru equivalent. What was the was it the Subaru Brumby that was the equivalent?
Yeah, that was much bigger, but yeah.
Yeah, my mate had one of those, and it has a tire in the front engine.
Yeah, that's the one. And in America, they actually came with seats in the back tray facing backwards.
Nice.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
And like little
candles. Haven't we all sat in the back of the ute though without seats?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw people at the shops the other day. There was 7 girls getting into a little hatchback. There was 2 sitting in the hatch facing, towards the glass with their knees up against the glass. I'm just like, that's sketchy. People are going to die.
Hey, Rob, when they did that, was there clown noises playing as they all got into the car?
Should have been. There was still 2 people outside the car trying to work out where they're going to fit. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Come with me.
20 years ago, yes, I would have done that, but they were uni students, and I'm like, I'm twice their age now. I'm internet celebrity now.
You're single, so
you're a single YouTube star, Rob. You're pretty much.
Want to come over and jump in my sim rig?
Please tell me you carry that steering wheel around with you and go, oh, this is my sim rig.
Yeah, we've got guys at work who'll stand out the front and they'll be there with their football and just playing with their football. I do the same with the steering wheel. I just go out and I'm just like, yeah, sports. I like sports.
Oh, wait a minute. Without like this, Rob. Just
yeah. They do the same thing, but we throw the steering wheel to each other. I just want to go out and with my tennis racket and stuff. Just like, sports. Sorry, totally derailed it.
That's all right. We're used to that now. The anti-dilution fund is probably the other main thing we want to.
Let's pretend I know nothing about that, Dave, and explain to me like I was 5.
So they decided that if any new teams come into F1, because obviously they're all established, blah, blah, they want value for the teams and that if you came into F1, you would have to pay $200 million that would then be divided between the current teams.
Oh,
which at the moment
is
10. So, a new team coming in pays $200 million. All the other teams get $20 million each to, say
the F1
thanks.
bribe, I think we called it.
Yeah, we'll let you in, thanks for your money kind of thing. So, when Andretti, they said, you've got to, have the $200 million, you need a manufacturer behind you or whatever, blah, 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 kind of thing. So Andretti went off and said, okay, we've got $200 million. We've got Cadillac behind us. We're good to go. And they went, fuck. I think we're going to, because now the teams are worth more, we're going to increase this anti-dilution thing, which, you've decided that, but you've said to Andretti, this is what you need to do to come in. And they're like, right, we're ready to go. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, no, I'm not sure now. Like, if we're going to let a 12th in, tell them now, it's 500 million or whatever. Make it. But I think it's very unfair.
Cars cost, Dave? Is that just before you even start?
Before you start, you have to, here's $200 million to buy in, essentially to buy the 11th spot on the grid.
Yeah, it's basically you're bribing your way in because the 10 people that are already there are like, I'll let you in, but I have a price. It's $20 million.
It's to essentially, like a franchise system with other sports. It's essentially that you can't turn around and, because teams were basically going under and they were absolutely worthless. Because there's no value to them, other than kind of the entry. Yeah, your factory's worth a little bit, kind of thing. But if you go to sell the team, you're like, well, why would I pay, $200 million for that team when, like, I can set my own team up, spend $100 million on a factory or whatever, blah, 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 and I've got my whole own thing for, cheaper or whatever. And why say, Strolls came in and paid out Jet Force India's debts and give them £1 or whatever, and off you go.
Yeah, I was about to say, didn't most of the teams that fold, because I know they do this in other sports, if Rob owned Sports Team FC and it has debt, I pay off the debt and I say, here's $1. It's my team now. And now I'm in the sport because I've gotten around the $20 million.
So there is that, but it does, because you could, in essence, like, there wasn't that, if a team was going under, there wasn't that, because you're like, well, I'll just enter anyway. Like, I'll buy the assets from the liquidators and go and set up my own team, kind of thing. Whereas with this anti-dilution thing, you're saying that if you want to be the 11th team in Formula One, you go and buy an existing team like Audi did, or you pay $200 million and then start building your team. But they've kind of gone, well, wait a second, the teams these franchises now are worth a lot more. Like, it's too cheap for Andretti to come in and only give us $20 million each isn't that much, considering what we think we're worth now.
Well, why are you giving? I understand, like, if I'm buying my way in, normally you'd give the money to F1 or the FIA, and you'd be like, here we go, and you'd probably do some sort of thing where you'd almost get a what do you call it? Not a loan, but a deposit, where you'd say, here's $200 million to the FIA. This is like, you can get this back in a year or two if you keep the business running. Otherwise, if you fold, we keep it and we give it to the other teams or something. Because I mean, let's be honest. Red Bull's not going to be concerned if a new team joins, or Mercedes. Like, the smaller teams might be concerned
that's
turn up.
Yeah, it's the teams like Williams and that are.
Yeah, I can understand why they need money. It should be a percentage. Like, Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari do not need money from a small up-and-coming team, which is highly unlikely to come in and just suddenly dominate the sport.
But I think, say now with budget cap and that, probably that stuff needs to be distributed, because you still get your prize money, Jagged. And then what they're also saying, then the prize money has to be divided between 11. So, and your TV times divided by 11, etc. So it affects all that. But what you're saying, that's how Haas came into the sport. So I think at that time they had to pay, I think it might have been $80 million when they came in, put that up front, and then they got that fed back to them over the first 2 years.
What's stopping you from making an F1 team, Dave? Like, if I built a F1 team, in theory, I did all my wind tunnel testing and stuff for the last, year and a half. I did driving in my own time, like, I've got an F1 track. Then I joined the F1, but I've already done 500 hours of wind tunnel testing because that's all I did last year. Is there a way that the FIA can be like, well, you can't join right now because you've had Rob in a wind tunnel for, 24/7 for the last year, just sitting there, with bits of sticker on it and stuff?
In the past, no. And this was some of the issue when Haas came in, because they were outside of the rules. So they magically employed all these Ferrari people for 6 months and did all this wind tunnel testing and that. And that was outside of the wind tunnel testing rules and that. And then they rejoined Ferrari after 6 months working for Haas. So, and then, there was big question marks whether they were actually doing work for Haas or Ferrari when they were working for Haas. So now, like, say Audi is already under restrictions of what they can do engine-wise and that, and what they can spend.
Yeah, but they've joined. Like, beforehand, though, how do we know in the last 4 years Audi haven't just been...
If you had been doing that, though, they would probably reject the entry. Yeah.
So you basically show them that you're not doing, instead of like showing them that you've got an F1 team, you kind of have to show them we don't have an F1 team. We are starting from scratch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
Don't look in the back here, though. That's not a wind tunnel. It's a really big shed. It makes a lot of noise because I've got trains.
And that's the hard thing as well. Like, you don't know what, say, Mercedes has hidden away in Stuttgart, what Ferrari's got going on.
Oh, they've all got their car company. I guarantee you, Red Bull and Mercedes and Ferrari all have hidden stuff, and they probably all know it. Like, I reckon Toto, and Christian both know that they have secret stuff, but it's not worth their effort to say, how do we know you don't have a secret thing? Because then they'll be like, how do you know about a secret business, under an umbrella organization? What have you got going?
Well, the question was posed to, like, essentially to one of the Mercedes people. I can't remember. It was an interview I heard in the last couple of weeks, and was basically like, I'm surprised you haven't protested anything on the Red Bull. And they basically said, we have to understand how they're cheating before we can protest it, because we don't understand why they're so much.
Understand, Dave, but they don't want to give away why they.
No, they understand that Red Bull's a lot quicker, but they don't know why Red Bull's. So they're like, we essentially we suspect that they're cheating, but we don't know what we're supposed to. You can't just protest the car and go, they're faster. We protest the whole car, but they need to figure out what they actually are doing to make it faster so that they can protest it.
Oh, I reckon they have a rough idea, but it's roughly what they're doing as well. But Red Bull are probably just doing a better job.
Those things as well.
It's like every sport, like with the Tour de France. They were all cheating. They just all cheated in more exciting
at different
ways.
Levels.
Yeah. I reckon Red Bull are just very clever at hiding, how they're doing it. And there'll be like a special Rob division. And I'll be like, what does Rob do? He goes, he's a BMX rider. And they're like, what about these payments? No, don't worry about that. He's just a BMX rider. He's got a PhD in astrophysics, but,
There was a classic one, I think, when the Red Bull wings were flexing and that. And you could quite clearly see it on the cameras. You could see the front wing, touching the ground down the straight, and then it popped back up in the corners and whatever. And I think you put, say, 10 kilos on and it had to take a 10-kilo weight on without it flexing. And they went, right, we're going to do 20 kilos. And the Red Bulls didn't fail. And a couple of other teams, like, hit the ground kind of thing, and it fucked them right up. So, like, right, we have to do 30 kilos. And then I think the Red Bulls were still passing and everyone else's was fucked. And none of the others were moving on TV, but the Red Bulls were still moving.
So that just doesn't seem like enough weight, because those wings are putting,
it's a fair bit of weight too.
Quite a few kilos. Like the amount of downforce those things are put down, it's hundreds of
I can't remember the exact specific, but I think it was
I don't think it was much, but
also I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos. Could it also just be that Adrian Newey's just that smart, and he's leaps and bounds in front of most of the rest of the...
Quite a few people have said that he's been very active with the suspension on with the newer cars.
Yeah,
that they're like, oh, blah blah blah, aerodynamics, and he's like, no. I worked on the suspension.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay, you've obviously read through the rules and figured out something with the suspension.
He seems like the smartest man in the paddock, and from what it sounds like, from what I've been reading and watching, if he does something and does it well, you're going to benefit great. Like, it's not just just as simple as putting in a cheat code and go, here's $30 million. We need 8 people working on this. You could have 8 people that are smart, but then you've got this genius who's just like, I'll have a look at it for a bit. There we go. Off
I think you're also the hard part these days, because everything's getting so specialized. So you're getting guys coming in that work on the front wing or whatever, and he does the rear wing. And so you're not getting that overall kind of technical leader like an Adrian Newey that looks at the whole car as a whole. Whereas he would, say, go through the rule book and go, right, this is what we need to do for the whole car. And even when you're getting like the really good guys coming up through the ranks that end up, say, as technical director, they don't have that, they've spent a lot of time doing, say the front suspension or whatever, and they're not so then looking at the whole car, being able to go, right, this is our priority list.
But do you think Adrian
kind of
would
thing.
teach him that way? Like, it sounds like he would be like, you're working on the front wing, but also you need to understand here's how the middle, the rear wing, and suspension kind of work together.
I think that's, say, where you've got, who's the guy who went to Aston Martin?
Oh,
Protomew, Pete Protomew or whatever went to McLaren, but then there was the next one. Was it? Anyway.
Oh, that's the British. Yeah, I know
the guy who was second in line to Newey at Red Bull, and then he's gone to Aston, which they've then essentially entered in the cheat code, because he was essentially the guy taking over at Red Bull while Adrian was stepping back.
But he would have probably, he's probably not as smart as Adrian Newey, but he's probably got that fundamental way of thinking.
Yeah, he hasn't got, say, that 40 years of experience doing that kind of technique. And he's, say, Newey started off in a time like in the early mid-80s.
Dan Fellows?
Yeah, Dan Fellows. Yeah. So Pete Protomew was the first one that they lost, and then, Dan Fellows as well. They didn't start off where you would, you would sit down by yourself and design the whole car.
Yeah.
And then, Adrian's like worked through that where the teams have, got ridiculously large.
It depends how well he's trained, because, again, to mention other sports, but in the use your foot to kick a ball sport in Australia, there was a coach who won 3, we'll call them Constructors Championships. Yeah. And then from that, in the last, I'd say 10 years, 9 of them have been from him. So
his junior coaches or whatever,
So basically, what you're probably going to see is most teams will start poaching from Red Bull. Whoever's in the aerodynamics team. If I was like a Williams, I'd be like, "Who's this kid? In 2 years, I'm going to steal him."
Yeah, you've also got to steal the right person, and then you've got to give them, like, say, Aston Martin to get Dan Fellows it's an attractive place to go to. They're getting a new wind tunnel. They've got building a fancy new factory. They've got the Rookie of the Year. They've got kind of an open checkbook kind of thing. Like they will be working to the budget cap. But Papa Stroll's got them working to the budget cap, etc. Whereas, say, if you're Williams trying to attract one of these guys, you've got outdated facilities. You haven't got a good team environment to go to. You haven't got a Fernando Alonso on the books kind of thing. You're probably not even working to the budget cap still at the moment. Things like that. Like, there isn't that enticement.
If you were a junior aerodynamics person working under Adrian Newey, and a bunch of teams came up to you and said, "Look, in a couple of years, we'll be honest with you, we're probably going to poach you." Which team at this moment, besides Red Bull and say Jag, would you be wanting to get poached to?
Sauber would be a very interesting one. You have very favourable working conditions in Switzerland. You get to live in Switzerland, which is nice. And
we all know the joke, and the flag is a plus. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, that would be. They're definitely. They'll be poaching.
Would they be doing that? If you're starting a team in a couple of years, you'd be looking at whoever Adrian Newey's got, like following him around in the paddock, and just go, "I'm taking him later."
So Sauber's already started doing it, obviously, because they got Seidel from McLaren, which they'll start going through and start poaching, because also they'll be trying to get man up with the gardening leave and stuff like that as well.
So that they have people on the books longer.
With some of them, yeah, but they'll be trying to get some high-profile signings now as well. But you try and get, say, like part of the attraction of going to, say, a Red Bull is that you get to work underneath Adrian Newey and learn, from him as well. Whereas that's Red Bull, so that's it. Really good catering too.
Yeah,
very
delicious meals. Yeah.
Do you reckon Red Bull's going to get done again this year? I heard there were some whispers.
Well, the hard thing is if you were already over last year and finding it because it's financial year stuff, not calendar year, I think. So that's part of the problem that you found out after you'd already committed funding, but you would be able to pull back.
There was something.
They don't have to run the wind tunnel as much.
Yeah, there was a thing before Stefano Domenicali.
At this point?
Actually, no, it's not financial year because it was 2020. It was 2020. Yeah, it was 2021 that they broke the budget cap, but only found out at the end of 2022.
Yeah, so 2022.
So you were already a fair way through the spending year before you found out that you were getting in trouble for the previous year.
But Dave, let's be honest. Toto's already registered a complaint. He's probably already said, "I don't know where," but just have a look.
If it's £400,000, you can easily pull that back.
It just means
if they
sandwiches.
Yeah, well, you just say to Max, "Hey, can we just we'll fund you an extra 400K somehow else. We'll just
it'll be in the paper bag. We'll put it in the
we'll bag. Pull it. Yeah. We'll just go and do a sponsor appearance at the end of the year.
What is it that Dan's been doing? Just go use the Yeti eskies, chuck some fish in it, and away you go.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't fall under because he's not he's a Red Bull Technologies employee or whatever, not a Red Bull Racing.
I kind of feel that Dan is just like their trained monkey. It's like, we've got a new sponsor.
He's
like, I don't know if you saw the video of like a week in F1. Basically, it's Dan sits in the car with Christian in the Ford Raptor. Then they drive to Melbourne. They sign a photo of like a Yeti. And then they're like, who else? Wait a minute. Who else is on the shirt? Okay, it's your turn now. Yep, you're done. You know, hold a can of Red Bull for the TV. Yeah. Show everyone the. I didn't even know they sold Yeti eskies in Australia, to be honest, until I saw Dan bringing them along.
Springing them.
Where do you get them?
At least I know what it is. I still don't know what a Patronus is, and I want to see George Russell holding it. Well, I want to see him with a Patronus oil drum or something.
Haven't you ever heard of the Patronus Towers in Malaysia?
I have now. Excuse me, Dave. New tab, Patronus Towers.
What was the movie? I'm trying to think.
Was it Fast and Furious? Oh,
no, it was
Patronus Towers.
Yeah, it was a famous movie. It was like Salma Hayek or someone, and
here we go.
Like one of those bank heist kind of.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out why there's a park inside it. In popular culture, here we go, Dave.
Yeah.
There's been a Bollywood movie, Jackie Chan's Adventures, Entrapment.
That was it. Who was in that?
That was Catherine Zeta-Jones and The Rock.
I was kind of close.
I feel like I need to watch that now because it's slightly F1 related now that I found out.
100% it's F1 related.
let me add it to the. I might watch it tomorrow. Someone's got it.
It's like the movie that the McLaren factory was in.
Oh, really?
Was it? Yeah, the latest. I think it was the latest Bond. Or was it Kingsman? Something like that.
Probably Kingsman.
Yeah. It was like the lair of the baddie, I think. It was the McLaren factory.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no mention of it there. Oh, okay. Well, looks like Matt's got some lunchtime viewing.
Yeah.
You're going to be watching...
Busy day tomorrow, huh?
Friday, very busy day.
Yeah.
Or Rob, you've been called out.
Oh, why? What have we done?
I think we have something to show Angus, don't we?
That's on Saturday, I think. When is it, Dave?
Who? What?
The room tour.
Oh yeah, on Saturday.
Did you update my thumbnail again?
Yeah.
To the last one?
Yeah, it's ready for the latest one.
Sick.
There's a cool video for you on Saturday on this channel, Angus.
Yeah.
So in our
Like
series of like and subscribe, click the bell to get notifications of when we're live.
Yeah.
We're doing a bit of a series of our places and things we're doing.
Should hopefully have a track review next week as well. So it's something different.
We have heaps of extra. We have a Baku.
Yeah. It may or may not be Baku. We don't know yet. It depends if I can do a lap of it without crashing.
What about starting off somewhere? Wanneroo in Perth.
It depends if I
for
can
next
get the
weekend.
track.
That's a bit more straightforward for you.
I was going to do track previews of ovals.
Some of them are difficult. As ridiculous as it sounds.
Some of the little ones are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even I haven't played Indy in a lot of games, but when I have played it, Indy is quite difficult because there's not a lot of banking there.
No, and you got to.
So
you can still go flat out, but it depends on if you got any.
Depends on the car you're in.
Yeah. Depends on the car. If you're in an IndyCar, it also depends on if you got anyone, if you're following anyone. I had a race at Pocono, which you can almost go flat out around, but I had a draft on this guy and we hit the one of the corners, and because I had so much understeer because of the draft, I just hit the wall, and that was it. Yeah. Which was quite annoying.
To say the least.
Yeah.
So 58 minutes in, we've pretty much stayed on track.
Yeah.
Have you got any questions to derail us, Matt?
I don't have a question. I actually discovered something today.
Okay.
So in my roundabout way, I was on Wikipedia, my favorite website in the world.
I like Wiki.
Wikipedia is fantastic. Anyway, I've been watching a TV show called Dave, and from there, you should watch it, Dave.
What's this TV show?
It's called Dave. It's about a rapper. Anyway, from that rapper, I found out about Megan Thee Stallion, and then I found out from her incident with Mr. Brundle, there is now a Martin Brundle rule for the track walk where you're not allowed to have bodyguards to push him out of the way, because basically, as it should be, Martin Brundle is the king of the walk, and you can't push him out of the way, because if you're on the track walk, you are there to be asked questions, and then people to mock you when they find out you know nothing about F1 and you're purely doing it because you just want to be seen on TV.
Yes.
So basically, after the security guard pushed Mr. Brundle out of the way, I think even F1 agreed, no, Martin is there for a job. You are there for, just to look
we have given you tickets to
we've given you very expensive
promote
tickets.
The sport, dickhead.
Yeah. And I think we all remember the one of the famous ones of them making fun of Christina Aguilera, where they said, and here's Christina Aguilera faking an interest in an F1 car.
and that's the problem sometimes with those kind of things.
Yes.
They do not care.
I think what's amazing, Dave, I don't know if it's just recently, but I've noticed when they have the British ones, because I've seen there's the old footage of Mr. Bean in the McLaren.
Yeah.
Who's clearly, if you know anything about him, he's a McLaren fan.
Yeah, he is a genuine fan of the sport though as well.
He owns an
McLaren
F1 and stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, whereas people who probably don't know him just look at him and go, he's that goofy guy that doesn't talk much.
Yeah.
And then when you go to like Miami and they just literally cut to, who are you? And like, I'm a big internet celebrity. Do you like cars? Oh, vroom, vroom, go fast. I think I like Lewis Hamilton because he won a couple of times.
Wait till Las Vegas. It's going to be even worse.
Oh, that's going to be the greatest track walk. Rob, I kind of feel like we need to watch that live because that is going to be the most incredible track walk, I think, because they're going to have every celebrity within 100-mile radius is going to want to be on that track walk. And I feel like Martin's going to be in fine form.
Who's your mate, Matt, that does
DJ Khaled?
Yeah. See, like, at least he's excited to be there and wants to talk.
Dave, I don't the opening of an envelope.
I don't care that he doesn't know what he's talking about. At least he's like, and there will be fans of his that are like, oh, he was there, cool. Like, what's this thing that he was at, kind of thing. And he's all excited about him, whatever. These, like, the dickheads like Megan the Stallion, who
think they're too good.
I only know her as the person who wouldn't talk to Martin Brundle.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like, I could not tell you she's some kind of singer or something. But as far as I know.
Bush was a horse rider.
Yeah, well, that was, I have, you could play her on the radio. I would have no idea what one of her songs sounded like.
I think the ones that, I think if you're going to go to it and they tell you, hey, Dave, you're a big internet celebrity, you're going to go on the track walk, you would think your management would say, look, Rob over here, he's kind of F1 royalty. If he comes up and talks to you, don't pretend that you know everything because you'll get called out, but just have DJ Khaled energy and be excited to be there.
Fake an interest, This is really cool. I've never seen cars go so fast. This is amazing. Everyone should do this if you get the opportunity. Who do you think's going to win? Hamilton. It's a safe.
No, the problem is it's all just like their people have gone, you need to do this. It's good for publicity. And that's it.
You would think they would tell them if a small British man comes around and you don't want to lose any disrespect from people, you know, like there's certain, like in certain sports, again, with the Australian, using your feet to ball, there's like commentators that will walk around and talk to you, talk to him, and then, move on. But I think the annoying ones is when they come on and they either think they're too big for the questions or just completely ignore him. I'm like, the only reason you're on the track there is some company that sponsors a major company that your management company is owned by under the big umbrella of some other company gave you some tickets.
So some of them are invited by F1 though as well too.
Yeah, but they're ones that know what they're.
Yeah, you might have like a DJ Khaled or whatever.
He would have, like I said, he would have just been excited to be invited because he's from Miami. Well, he's not really from Miami, but I think he grew up there. And he's just, he sees a TV camera, I'm jumping on this.
Was Carl Cox at Melbourne Grand Prix?
He was, I'm pretty sure he was at Newcastle.
Yeah, because he's a famous person and is hardcore into cars. Well, motorsports anyway.
Didn't Mr. Top Gear himself, Jeremy Clarkson, come to one a couple of years ago? And he was, he had a good chat. Like he hadn't been there for 4 years or something, and he had a good chat. How excited he was to.
But they're the kind of people that you should be having rather than some of these other, like essentially dickheads that, don't understand what they're doing there.
That's why we need to watch the Vegas race because I think the track walk will be
the dickhead factor will be high.
Oh, it'll be dickhead central.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, that's about all you need for F1, really. Max is going to win.
That's
will
it.
win. Toto will get angry. George will back up whatever Toto says. Lewis will say he's driving in an unpowered car and he's never seen a car dominate so much that it basically he may as well be driving a small hatchback because Max's car is just too good. Don't allude that they're cheating, but just subtly mention that what they're doing could be almost impossible with all the salary cost caps and stuff.
Yeah.
But don't say that they're cheating. Just say, it's just amazing that they've improved so well and we have fallen behind so far.
Yeah.
And then in the back, Toto just sits there going, yes, complain. Not me. Someone else did it. And then quietly whisper in the whoever the F1 principal of Ferrari will be at the time, because I'll probably sack him halfway through, and just whisper and go, isn't it weird that Red Bull are really good? I think you should complain as well. Basically, from what Drive to Survive made it sound like, it was just there were a bunch of high school kids.
Yeah.
And and Christian Horner's become the popular kid. Toto used to be the popular kid because he had a Game Boy and he brought it in. Everyone loved him. But now Christian Horner's brought in a Game Gear or something, and people are like, "You're not cool anymore. We're hanging out with Christian now." And he's like, "It's not fair. I'm going to complain. I don't know what for, but I'm complaining anyway." I'm looking forward to Vegas very much so.
Yeah.
Not much further to go. Only a few months.
Yeah.
And Dave, if we're lucky, and Dave Nostradamus over here is correct, Rob, it'll be an F1 race, grid walk, and Dan will be driving. He'll get his wish.
Really?
And Rob will have to wear a Dan Ricciardo shirt for the rest of the season. Isn't that the deal?
Yeah.
As soon as Dan gets a seat, you have to wear a Dan Ricciardo outfit.
Yeah. I will buy a hat.
And you got to wear it every time he races.
At this rate, he can still finish second in the championship.
In what car?
In his Red Bull.
No.
So who's coming? So Dave, then who's coming 21st in the 20-man race?
Latifi.
Latifi just shows up for 2 races.
Yeah. Latifi's replacement, Logan, unfortunately, I think.
Yeah. There's a good chance.
You reckon the last 2 races, Latifi gets called back?
Latifi
last in both of them.
I'll get Latifi back. I'll get Latifi back to replace Dan when he can't get higher than 10th.
Also, Dave, what happens if Dan can't get the car to do? What if they do put him in the car and he doesn't just dominate?
Well, then they've got De Vries or Sonoda to give a try.
Yeah.
Oh, so they'll just keep trying. So Checo will be just gone. They won't.
Well, why do you keep going with him?
I mean, he seems, from what I understand, he seems to do a good second place person, but I think that's wearing thin.
Yeah.
Yeah, my personal view is that he's essentially doing a Bottas job. So because the car's in front, at the moment he's doing a good enough job at finishing behind. But the problem is, once they have competition again, like last year, there's quite often times where like Max was first and Perez was like 6th on the grid. When you've got some closer competition, the gap's too big. You need, like, you probably don't want a Lewis-Nico Rosberg situation where you've got the two of them fighting it out. But say like a Leclerc-Sainz kind of situation where your number 2 is like just behind.
So you reckon Checo's going to start getting a couple? He'll start getting close, because the problem is, I see, if Checo does badly, he's going to get dropped, right, for finishing 5th or 6th. But if he finishes 2nd every time, he's going to get he's going to get the thought in his mind, why am I not first? And then he's going to fight with Max. He's going to be told not to fight with Max and keep second.
Yeah, and
as bad as finishing fifth.
It's not going to be every weekend though that he's going to be able to challenge either.
Yeah,
like there'll be the odd occasion.
If he gets close.
Yeah,
he's kind of doomed either way, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's kind of in his dreams that he gets close. But he needs to be closer if any of the other teams start stepping up. That's the problem. Which they're safe at the moment because they're quite comfortably in front.
Yeah.
But as soon as you have a more even playing field, then all of a sudden you might have both Mercedes in there. So instead of like it's then Max against both Mercedes because they're at quite a similar level. So you can change the strategies and stuff.
But do you think Christian's told him that you've got, because supposedly the rumor was he set up a tweet that just said like, let's challenge for, wins or whatever. Clearly in his mind, he's probably thinking my car's good enough to win. I've already won a race. I'm technically not much worse off. Rob's eyes are creepy. But I'm not worse off, like I can still technically win. Christian's probably told him, no, this is Max is our number one driver. Like don't get any ideas. Whereas I think Dan probably knows if he was to get a seat, it would be, what do you need me to do? I will definitely do it because I want your seat. I will happily finish second if it means I get a Constructors' Championship, and then I can, retire in a couple of years and just say, in my last 3 years at Red Bull, I dominated. I was, an average.
Yeah, well, I proved that as long as I think Dan's at that point now where if he can come back and take 2 or 3 wins a year, he'd be quite happy.
Yeah. But I think he would know that he is the second driver, whereas I think Checo's still got in his mind, I am potentially I could be a world champion.
Yeah.
Back Albon wins. I want to see Albon do better. Yeah. He's probably my favorite person on the grid.
Yeah, I very much like Albon too. I think he got a bit shafted in the whole because his gap is realistically, I think it was actually better than what Checo's was last year to Max. Like he was closer to Max than what Checo was last year. It's just that the car had improved that much. So instead of like Max being third and Albon being 8th, say, it was 1st and 5th.
Yeah.
So in theory, it looked better because he was qualifying further up, but the actual gap was And Checo's been around for about 15 years, while it was Albon's second year.
Yeah, Albon was still pretty green. I think he needed a bit more time just to do his own thing. Yeah.
But you read, say like Gasly. Gasly got thrown, and Kvyat. As well, probably got, and some of them do it really well. Like say Lando Norris is quite
well.
But he's been a little bit away from the spotlight. But like Max essentially got thrown in the deep end, and he swam very, very well. But then you're like, well, if say Sainz got thrown in the same opportunity, but Max had also done 1.5 years before he got thrown into Red Bull, whereas Albon had only done half a year. When he got thrown in,
that was probably a bit early.
Yeah. So, all right.
Cool.
I think covered off everything.
Yeah, I think so.
We've done well. Oh, just quickly, Dave, have you seen that some Hamilton fans are trying to get the 2021 results changed?
Is this with because Massa's decided to go after the...
Well, the weird thing is, if one of them if the 2021 results get thrown out, Hamilton then has to give up the 2018 one, because essentially it's kind of the same scenario where someone's benefited from a crash. So either way, Lewis Hamilton's only going to have 7.
What? Without, I haven't read what's happening with this though, but what happened? Say Massa's one, they're trying to get the results of the Singapore Grand Prix thrown out because of, so then that affects the championship. If the results get thrown out from Abu Dhabi, wasn't it? 2021.
Max still
wasn't
wins, right?
Max leading the championship going in?
Yeah.
So if the results of that race get thrown out, Max is still world champion.
Yeah. So let's do that. Let's get it cancelled. Then they have they have nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
And we can move on with life.
Yeah, we'll null and void that. Yeah, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Like, we'll null and void that. You still lose.
Yeah.
Dave, I just read it and I tell you. I don't think about it. much like Hamilton fans probably don't think about it. They're just like, no, not fair. Michael was after him. There's a conspiracy against him.
Yeah. Yeah. And to an extent, these are probably the same people that if it ended under safety car or, that would complain that, we should have a green flag finish. Well, this is what happens when you try to do things like that.
Yeah.
And
some people are just never happy, Dave.
No, I'd prefer to see green flag finish. It was stupid what we did in Melbourne, though.
Yeah,
that was.
There needs to be.
It was an amusing viewing when we watched it.
Ferrari's thing got kicked out as well. Their the protest on the science thing, which. I mean, I can see why they're aggrieved, but also, like, you've got bigger problems to look at than worrying about a lost fourth position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that your best result so far this year?
Yeah.
Or non-result?
Non-result,
so, yeah.
All right.
If that is Ted Kravitz leading that, he's definitely falling down in my respect level. So
Ted can be put back in a box and just let him out. I don't know, for F1 races.
Or maybe not let him out if he's gonna do things like that.
If he's gonna be unhinged.
Yeah. Get back in your box, buddy. All right then.
Right.
It's another week down. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next week. Don't forget the Rob special episode out on Saturday, and we'll be
special.
Back with an F1 preview next week after this long mid-season break.
Finally back.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you next week.
See you.
See ya.